You are listening to the Lose Weight for the Last Time podcast with me, Laura Conley, episode number 198. OMG, we're getting close to 200, you guys. What should we do for 200? Oh, it's exciting. Okay, so in this episode, we are going to talk about how to be a skinny mom, part 2. Skinny meaning feeling hot, sexy, feeling like your best self, feeling amazing in your skin. And one of the main reasons we have trouble weighing what we want as moms is because we're stressed, we're overwhelmed, we have too much on our plate. So in part 1, we talked about how to not get stressed in the first place. And this is like 50% of it. So you don't have to go back and listen to that episode because this episode will be totally fine for you to dive right in, but you can go back later. Okay. So we are going to talk about what happens when you inevitably do get stressed and what happens when you inevitably, at least for the time being, you will eventually learn how to not do this at all. But what happens if you do stress eat, what to do after that moment. It's actually really simple, and you don't want to miss out on, like my friend Sarah, she calls it the buried treasure. You actually want to approach this like you're either winning or learning. You're either losing weight or you're learning from your quote unquote mistakes or detours or plot twists or failures, whatever you want to call them. So what to do if you get stressed out and you want to eat food. And again, like I talked about last week, sometimes we don't even know that we're stress eating. So it can be really helpful to look back on the times that you eat when you're not hungry. Because stress, overwhelm, boredom, procrastination, this could be at play. This episode, we're talking specifically about stress, overwhelm, too much on your plate, okay? So we are going to talk about obstacles and strategies, right? I teach my clients all of this. George Mumford, I actually don't know who George Mumford is, but my girlfriend Serena had posted this on her Instagram. And he says, what is in the way is the way. And that is exactly what I'm going to teach you. Stress is in the way. Stress is our obstacle. The desire to want to numb our stress, to distract ourselves from the stress, to escape the stress by using food is the obstacle. How cool. As long as we create strategies for our obstacles, we will have our own backs and we will be able to be a skinny mom, be a hot mom, be a sexy mom, be a confident mom, whatever. Insert whatever adjective you want, okay? So we're going to go over a bunch of strategies and you are going to pick out the strategy or strategies. I prefer you to have strategies that will work for you. And remember, this is a practice. If a strategy doesn't work one time, it doesn't mean it doesn't work. It just means you haven't practiced it enough yet, right? You can't run before you learn to crawl. You have to be a baby blob for a while. You have to blob around. And then you have to sit up and then you have to crawl and then you have to walk and then you have to run. It takes years and it takes so much practice. You guys, losing weight for the last time is a skill, okay? Ooh, let me interrupt myself. I forgot to tell you to go to lauraconley.com/school to sign up for the School of Skinny. This is my 5-day weight loss challenge that we are doing September 9th through the 13th every single day at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. That's 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, live on Zoom. So go sign up. Space is limited. You have to book your seat and you don't have to come live. We will send out the recordings. Okay. So go ahead and sign up for that right now. But my point was you just haven't learned the skill and practiced the skill of permanent weight loss. Not a big deal. This is something that you can learn and it's actually very simple. Okay, so we are talking about obstacles and strategies. The obstacle is the stress. Now, what are some strategies that we can use when you want to stress eat? Okay, so for me, I like to just draw a line in the sand that I don't eat when I'm stressed. It's so interesting. I had coffee with a friend the other week, and she was talking about how she had some OCD tendencies around Googling health ailments. Like she'd get like a crick in her neck and then she would go down the rabbit hole of Googling and she would stress herself out and she would get so worried. Her therapist was like, we just make a rule that you don't Google, that you're literally not allowed to Google when you have a symptom. And she just followed the rule. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I need to teach my clients this because this is so stupid simple. Now, remember, this takes practice. You might not follow the rule perfectly every time. I'm going to give you a million strategies that you can pick from. So that's one strategy. I recommend we all do this. We just don't eat when we are stressed. Food is for fuel most of the time. Sometimes a little bit of pleasure too, right? But like most of the time, food is for fuel. That is literally the point of food. Now, I like to leave a little bit of room for some extra food for pleasure. And I will also say that when I am eating food for fuel, I also get pleasure in it. I do. But it's like you wouldn't go poo when you didn't have to go poo. You wouldn't just like lie down and take a nap if you weren't tired. Same applies here. We want to be eating when we are hungry. We don't want to be eating when we are stressed. Food is not a stress reducer. It's not a stress reliever that actually gives us a net positive or even a net neutral. If you're listening to this podcast, it gives you a net negative. It actually creates more stress for you and your body and your health and your well-being, and I could go on and on. So we do not want to use food as a solution to our stress. Don't worry. We have a lot of other solutions, okay? So first strategy to overcome the obstacle of stress eating is draw a line in the sand. Make it a rule. Now, remember, you're going to have to practice this rule over and over again. Okay. Now, you might be thinking, this will make me feel better, okay? So really, if we're getting into the nitty-gritty, the obstacle is not just your stress, it's your thought about the stress and the urge to eat food, okay? So imagine you're stressed out and you have an urge to eat food because your brain says to you, it thinks to you, it offers this sentence inside your brain that this will make me feel better. Remember from part 1, we did a lot of thought swapping. We did a lot of thought countering, right? So how are you going to counter that thought? That then becomes your strategy. Do you guys get it? Are you with me? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? So what could you say back to your brain? My brain says to me, this will make me feel better. I say back to my brain, I know that's what you think. And you know what, brain? It actually might make me feel better in the short run, but in the long run, it's going to make me feel worse. It's going to make me feel like good for 30 seconds, and then I'm going to feel worse in 5 minutes and in 5 hours and tomorrow and next week. It's not going to work. Then I like to say to my brain, like, what actually would make me feel better now and later? Okay? When I'm stressed, my brain will offer to me, I don't care. Screw it. I just want it. What could we say back to our brains? That's the strategy. Yeah, you do just want it. Of course you want it. You're allowed to want it. You do care. It doesn't feel like you care right now in the moment, but you're going to care tomorrow. Just because you want something, like sometimes this is like talking to our 4-year-olds, right? I call this whole practice allow power. Like not willpower, the opposite, right? Agreeing with your brain and be like, yeah, you do want it. And we're not going to have it because we want something else more. We want our health, our longevity. We want to rock a bikini. We want, now you go to whatever your whys are for wanting to lose weight and you can pull from there, right? We want our weight loss goals, our dream come true bodies. We want that more than we want a bite of pirate's booty, right? We do care. What about when your brain is stressed out and it offers to you that you deserve it because you're stressed? Your brain's going to say, we deserve it. Oh, it's been such a tough day. What are you going to say back when your brain says, I deserve it? You could say, yeah, like maybe you do deserve it. Maybe it's true. But I love a good quality question here. Like, but what do we deserve more? Like, what is going to help us take care of ourselves more? What is it? I deserve it. I deserve some me time. I deserve some self-care. What is it that you deserve, and how can you fill your cup up with that? One of my friends texted me today and she said, oh my God, this is so like yummy mummy. She says, This is what the meme on Instagram said. Every meal you eat is a short-term investment in how you feel and perform, a mid-term investment in how you look, and a long-term investment in your freedom from disease, right? So like every bite, lick, taste is an investment. It's either a vote for your future self or your past self. And what you want to create, I'm guessing, is your future self, right? So what is it that you actually deserve? My brain always says to me when I'm stressed, like, it's fine. And again, I really love, sometimes I do a 180 on the thoughts, and sometimes I like to agree. You know what? It is fine. It's totally fine. And it's not going to help us be fine. My client said that to me today. She's like, but it's fine now, but it's not going to create me fine, like fine, like hot and fine. Get it? I'm just having a little bit too much fun with myself over here. So you guys, all of this strategy kind of from a high level is called allow power. You can go listen to my podcast on that too. Because we don't use willpower in the yummy mummy because that doesn't work. It runs out. So these are little examples of allow power, which just means you're allowing an urge to eat food without answering it by eating the food. You're allowing it to just be there and do its thing. And you're not resisting it. You're not fighting it. You're not like, what's wrong with me? Why do I want this? I hate myself. I hate my life. Why did my husband bring this home? He's such an asshole. He freaking knows that I freaking him on a diet. I could kill him. That's what my brain used to say. Okay, I think we really covered some thought strategies for the obstacle of stress and the desire to stress eat. Now we're going to cover some strategies that are do strategies, not just so you can do something when you have an obstacle or you can think something when you have an obstacle, but you always have to at least have some thought strategies. You can't have no thought strategies because worst case scenario, you can't do something. You'll see. Okay. So do strategies. Take 3 deep breaths. Drop a bead in your jar. If you guys have heard me talk about this, every time you allow an urge for food, when you're not hungry, you can get a little bead and that bead drops in the jar and it gives you a little hit. Now, I'm going to be honest, it doesn't give you the same hit that eating the pirate's booty or eating the fill in the blank will give you, but it gives you something and it represents something bigger. It represents a half a pound down on the scale. It represents you being able to dance at your children's weddings. It represents you being able to go for a 10-mile bike ride. It represents your health, your longevity, your dream body, every single bead. So that's something you can do. You can go for a walk. You can remove yourself. Go into another room. Just go upstairs. You can get a Band-Aid. Like you can get a vitamin water zero. You can make a cacao bliss. You can get a element, LMNT water. I actually love people like sometimes are like, oh, is a Band-Aid okay? Or like other health coaches are like, they're not okay. I'm like, they are okay. Sometimes it's just like the fixation. You have to have something in your hand, something in your mouth, right? It's okay. We're healing at the root. Anytime you heal anything at the root, you actually do need a Band-Aid. You actually do need a Band-Aid. Like think about it, right? My daughter had open surgery at 10 months old. She had a bandage, a giant bandage as the surgery was taking hold. I like to say it out loud. I like to talk to myself in the kitchen like a total weirdo. When you say it out loud, the urge for the food, the urge to stress eat actually starts to dissipate. I also will say here, I like to be kind of humorous. Like when I am doing those thought strategies or talking back and forth with my brain, I really like to be silly and be like, oh, brain, like you really thought that was going to work. Like that is so cute. Like nice try, like try again tomorrow. And I kind of alluded to this, but like doing something with your hands, this isn't necessarily like a Band-Aid, but like if you tend to watch Netflix and snack on Pirate's Booty, why is Pirate's Booty my thing tonight? Get putty, start knitting, like have something in your hands because sometimes your hands just need something to do. Okay. So this was really a great deep dive on what to do when you actually are stressed because you're thinking thoughts that are causing stress, but this is normal. This is going to happen even if you get in front of the stress altogether with your thoughts and you manage your mind. You're so dialed in on your mind management, you're still going to get stressed because you are a human and it's a part of life. Okay. But what happens when you do stress eat? So it's tomorrow morning, you wake up, you realize, oh God, I totally ate last night. You guys, it's okay. I want you to see if you can bathe in love. I know that sounds really, really cheesy to say out loud, but like, I want you to be like, it's okay. What if we turn this into a learning project or an experiment where we go and we try to find a little golden nugget? Now, if there's a little side of shame or disappointment, I want you to hold yourself in that shame or disappointment as well. I want you to say to yourself, I love you. I know you're disappointed. This is a process. We're learning. We're not going to give up. We're not going to quit. It's okay to feel disappointed. It's okay to feel ashamed. It's okay to be a little bit mad, but we are going to soak in love and get curious and find out what was going on for us. Because you guys, when you look back with love, that's what I call this practice. We really go into it in the Yummy Mummy method inside my 6-month program. And actually we'll do it in the School of Skinny too, but we look back with love. It's helpful to look back with love when you've not only made a mistake, or I like to call it like a detour or plot twist because it's kind of more fun, but also when you have honored your word, when you followed through, like, ooh, what worked for me? So when you do make a mistake, remember, I want you to really love on yourself. And then I just want you to ask yourself, how do I want to handle this in the future? Like, what do I want to say to myself? Like, what was going on for me? And what was the exact sentence that caused me to put the food in my mouth? And how do I want to refute that or counter that next time? So it's like you're having the conversation ahead of time. Does that make sense, you guys? And then I need you guys to go down the bottom. I need you guys to go to, oh my God, cut that please, Cody. I need you to go down to the bottom of the rabbit hole here. When you come up with counter thoughts, when you're like practicing the debate inside your head beforehand, ask yourself, like, are these thoughts going to work, or is my brain going to counter back? And then what's my counter for that counter? And then keep going, because I want you to follow it all the way down to where you have the last word. It's really important when you do obstacles and strategies and looking back with love at the mistake or the detour or the plot twist or whatever. That is like doing obstacles and strategies after the fact. And it's mining the mistake. It's mining your past for the buried treasure. You're always winning or learning. Do not miss an opportunity. These mistakes are huge in your healing process. If you don't go back and look at them, you're going to miss out on so much. Don't do it, because what'll happen is you'll just keep making the same mistake over and over and over again. You have to go be willing to learn from it. Yes, some feelings of shame and guilt might come up. Hold yourself in them. Love yourself. It's okay. We got this. Yes, I made a mistake. I am not a mistake. Yes, I wish it went differently. And that's okay. I have my own back, right? I'm not wrong. I am not bad. So that's what I want you to do when you do stress eat. Ask yourself, what was going on for me? What did I actually need in that moment? What was I thinking? What was the exact sentence that caused me to put the food in my mouth? Now, here is one little tip I want to give you. Your brain's going to be like, I don't know. I don't remember. I can't. I want you to guess at what you were thinking when you put the food in your mouth. The guess is going to be 99% of the time correct. Okay? And then how can I hook myself up for next time? How can I counter those thoughts? Those same thoughts are going to arise over and over and over again. And then keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And remember to keep being very, very, very playful about this. Okay. So I hope this helps you to be a super skinny. And you guys know skinny is your own definition. Skinny just means weighing what you want. So I want you guys to really start practicing this. Start practicing. Go back to part 1, start practicing not feeling stressed in the first place, which is a practice, you guys. Give yourself a lot of time, okay? And then what to do when you inevitably will be stressed, and then what to do when you have eaten because of stress. It's okay. This is all a learning. So I feel like this has been such a great deep dive and so like content rich. Oh, it just gets me a little high here. If you really like this, if you want some more, I want you to go to lauraconley.com/school and sign up for School of Skinny. You are going to want to be in there. We're going to have so much fun. We do every single year. It is the best. One of my most fun, enlightening, empowering, live events that I do. So get your seat right now. Okay. I love you so much. I will talk to you next week. Have the absolute best week ever. Love you. Ciao, ciao.